One of the most important tasks you'll be doing while color grading is comparing different shots. Whether you're comparing the same shot with two different gradings applied, or you're comparing the shot you're working on now to a similar shot in the same film, or even comparing your shot to a reference shot from a Hollywood film. You want to be able to lay the shots side by side in order to compare them. So let's take a look at this shot. I'm going to apply a basic grade to this shot. I'm just going to increase the saturation, play with the lift, reduce the blues and the highlights, increase the blue in the shadow. Okay, it doesn't look very good now, but this is the shot that I want to compare at the moment. What I'm going to do now is right click on the monitor and click grab still. Now I have this still here, which represents this current state of the shot. Now let's apply a different grade to the same shot. I'll go to color, reset all grades and nods, and apply a more standard look. Now I'm just going to increase the saturation, bring the lift down a bit, increase the gamma, and I'm going to add a new nod and increase the saturation further. Now this is a different look. Just right click on it and grab still. Notice here that we have two different stills for the same shot now. What I can do is double click on the first one. Now you'll notice this line here. On the right side we have this grade, on the left side we have this grade. We can actually hold this line and move it around in order to compare both grades. I can change the direction of this line by right-clicking on the monitor, come to Wipe Style and choose Vertical. Now I have Vertical Wipe. Right-click, I can even choose a mix. I can actually invert the wipe. Let's go to Horizontal again. And in order to turn off the comparison, I'm just going to right-click and uncheck Show Reference Wipe. I can even be on a different shot and double click on any of these references here in order to compare both shots. So double click, and now I can compare both shots. Notice that this is not simply an image. You can right click here and display node graph. You will find the same nods. It actually saved the nods also with the image. So now I can apply this correction to any shot that I like. So I can come to this shot, and even though it doesn't make any sense now, I can right click here and hit Add Correction. Now, the same nods that were applied to this shot are being applied to this shot now. I can even click on this one, right click and add correction, and now I have this correction from this shot applied to this image. I can even add the nods from this shot to the existing nods on the current shot. So now I'm going to add another nod. By going to nods, add a serial nod, change anything about it, like maybe reduce the saturation, and I can right click on this image here, and instead of hitting add correction, I can go to append node graph, which will simply add the nods from this shot to the existing nods on this shot without replacing them. If I right click on the image and hit add correction, it's going to actually replace everything on this shot and add the correction from this nod to this shot. Another way to compare shots is the gallery. On a Mac, the way you save to the gallery is by hitting Alt and a number, and you recall the shots from the gallery by hitting Command and the same number. So let's say that I like the correction on this shot. In order to save it here to the first position, which is A, I would be hitting Alt and 1. Now I just saved the correction on this shot to this gallery position. Now, if I go to another shot and I want to apply the same correction from this shot, I would hit Command and 1 to reload the correction from the gallery to this shot. So now Command and 1. I just applied the same effect from here to this image. So if I have like 4 or 5, at the moment I have 6 corrections here, and I hit Command and I just keep on hitting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I can actually see different types of grading on the same image. Okay, let's reset everything. A new cool feature that was added to DaVinci with version 10 is the ability to view split screen. So if I come to the monitor, right click, split screen, and I turn it on, notice that I have a white border around the monitor now. And if I right click and go back to split screen again, I can actually choose different options. So I can go with neighboring clips. If I click on this, now I have my monitor split into 4 monitors, with the shot I'm on at the moment at the bottom left, and it's showing me the 2 shots right before it and the shot right after it. So I can actually start coloring while watching my current image that I'm working on at the moment to the other images around it. One last thing to do is I like to always keep color references from popular films or from shots that I like. Let's take a look at that. I usually keep these shots in order to compare what I'm doing to these shots. So if I like this shot, for example, I would load this shot to DaVinci in order to compare what I'm working on at the moment against this shot. So I have like maybe 100 shots here. So I will come here to Gallery, right click and import. And I'm gonna go to my shots. I have the color references here. Notice that it just asks you for a DPX file. You can just click this drop down menu, go to all files, and now you can choose any file that you like. Let's take this shot, for example, and import it. Now we have this shot in the gallery. What we can do now is double click on this shot to compare it to any shot that we're working on at the moment. One more important way in Resolve to compare shots is the ability to use Lightbox, which is this button here. If I click on this button, now I have a visual representation of all the shots in my film. And I can actually compare all the shots together. If I come here to this slider and I move it right, I'm making all the images bigger. And now I can see the color flow in my film and how it's going from the first shot to the last shot. And in the Lightbox, I have this button here that says Show Color Controls. If I click on it, I'm presented with all the color controls. So now, if I click on any shot, I can actually control the color of this shot. Of course, I'll be working on the currently selected node in this shot. So in this shot, if we go back and we turn off Lightbox, you'll notice that I have two nodes. So in Lightbox, if I'm correcting anything from Lightbox, I'm actually working on the current selected node of the shot. Of course, this means also that I can come to any shot and simply go to nodes, add a serial node, and now I'll be doing all the corrections on a new node.